Imagine spending 10, maybe 20 years of your life mastering the violin.
Oh yeah, a massive commitment.
Right. You bleed over the strings, you sacrifice your social life, you build up the calluses, and you finally, reach a point where you can play a concerto with this kind of raw, undeniable emotion.
Hmm.
And then you wake up one morning and find out a piece of code can render that exact performance.
Wow.
Not just like a generic violin sound, but your specific style with flawless execution in about 3 seconds.
It's terrifying,
It
honestly.
really is. And look, you dive into these topics with us because you want to understand these tectonic shifts happening right under our feet. And today, we are looking at a shift that is honestly shaking the very foundation of what it means to be human.
Absolutely.
For centuries, creativity, painting, composing, writing it was considered our ultimate trump card. It was this untouchable human reserve.
One thing machines couldn't do.
Exactly. But today, based on our deep dive into the fascinating concepts laid out in a text called The Creative Frontier, Human Artistry in the Age of AI, we have to confront a reality where the machines have entered the studio.
And they're not just sweeping the floors anymore.
No, they are not. AI can paint masterpieces, it can score films, it can write really compelling scripts. So our core mission for this deep dive today is answering one fundamental question.
Which is?
If machines can create art, what exactly is the role of the human artist?
I mean, it really is the defining question of our era. And to grasp the magnitude of this, we have to look at the architectural leap we've just taken.
Right.
We're not talking about a gradual creeping shift here. For a long time, the digital revolution was really just about automation.
Like calculators and assembly lines.
Exactly. We use machines to take over repetitive mechanical or computational tasks so humans could focus on higher level thinking. But what we've crossed into now is creative generation.
Which is fundamentally different.
Completely different.
Mhm.
We've moved from calculating spreadsheets to basically hallucinating original imagery and soundscapes.
Yeah.
Think about the sheer logistics of commercial creation.
Yeah.
What used to take entire teams of highly specialized experts, weeks or even months, to produce.
So like storyboarding, drafting, revising, rendering, all that stuff.
Right. That now takes a single person a few minutes.
Mm.
We are talking about tools that map billions of data points in this multidimensional latent space to essentially remove the friction of creation entirely.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because that phrase, removing the friction of creation, is exactly where the panic starts.
Oh, for sure.
If you remove the friction, you inherently cause a massive violent disruption for the people who used to, navigate that friction for a living.
Yeah, the professionals.
Right. To really understand the future of art, we have to look at why human creators are looking at this landscape as a total existential threat. It comes down to basic economics and physics, right? The speed and the lack of effort.
Precisely. The text lays out 4 distinct threats, and the first is that speed versus human effort. A human artist works within the really harsh constraints of biology and time.
We have to sleep.
We have to sleep. A complex digital painting takes days of focused labor. A musical composition takes weeks of trial and error.
Right.
But an AI model, it parses its training data and spits out a highly polished output in seconds. That productivity gap is just staggering.
So that's speed. What's the second threat?
It's the cost. High output now comes with virtually zero marginal cost. Hiring an artist requires a budget, contracts, time, negotiations.
Yeah, back and forth emails.
Exactly. AI offers unlimited variations for fractions of a penny.
Right.
And businesses, by their very nature, are highly rational actors driven to maximize efficiency.
Yeah, that makes sense.
When a business needs a commercial asset, they're looking for a solution to a problem. And AI offers a level of frictionless efficiency that humans simply cannot compete with.
Right. So like a marketing agency sees a new logo or background track for a commercial as a problem to be solved.
Exactly.
If one solution costs $3,000, involves 2 rounds of revisions, and takes 3 weeks, and the other costs 50 cents, gives you 400 options instantly, and, never complains about working the weekend.
Well, it's not hard to guess which way the spreadsheet leans.
Yeah, exactly. So what about the third threat?
Beyond the spreadsheet, there's the psychological reality of human limits. AI doesn't get creative block.
Oh, right.
Human artists are biological beings prone to burnout, perfectionism, imposter syndrome. We wait for inspiration.
We have days where the words just won't come out right.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Okay.
But a generative model doesn't need to take a walk to clear its head. It effortlessly produces endless rapid iterations, in dozens of different styles without ever experiencing fatigue.
Which brings us to the fourth point, I'm assuming.
Yes, the democratization of creativity. It fundamentally changes the barrier to entry. Historically, creating high-level art required rigorous skill and deep, really esoteric training.
Right.
Now, anyone who can type out a prompt can generate a professional-grade output.
Okay, I have to push back on that a little bit.
Sure.
Because as a listener, you might be thinking, wait, isn't democratization inherently a good thing?
That's the common argument, yeah.
If anyone with a prompt can suddenly create something beautiful, doesn't that unlock a massive wave of human potential? It reminds me of the invention of the smartphone camera.
Oh, that's a good comparison.
Right. Suddenly, literally everyone walking around was a photographer. But it didn't kill professional photography. It just meant more people could capture their lives. Doesn't this AI shift just empower people rather than threaten them?
What's fascinating here is that while it is totally empowering, it's also highly disruptive.
How so?
Well, the smartphone camera empowered people to take pictures of their lunch, sure. But when a major corporation needed a global advertising campaign, they still hired a professional with a DSLR, a lighting crew, and a studio.
Yeah, the professional's economic moat was safe.
Exactly. But what happens when the AI can generate the entire advertising campaign? The photography, the layout, the copy, the lighting variations in seconds, to a standard that is indistinguishable from the studio shoot.
Oh, wow.
This isn't just lowering the barrier to entry, it's vaporizing it. The democratization is real, but when utility becomes infinitely abundant and basically free, the economic reality for the professional just collapses.
Which brings us to a really uncomfortable question about quality.
Right.
If businesses are just choosing extreme, frictionless efficiency, what are they actually buying? Like, are we generating actual art here, or are we just generating highly efficient mathematical product?
That is the big debate.
I mean, when an AI spits out a painting, is it actually being creative?
This gets to the very core of the issue highlighted in the source text. The crucial distinction we have to make is that AI imitates the mechanics of creativity, while humans experience the necessity of it.
Imitation versus experience.
Exactly. We have to look at how these models actually work. An AI doesn't feel emotions. It hasn't lived a life. It just maps relationships between concepts in a vast, complex mathematical space.
Right, it's just math.
It learns patterns from billions of human-created works and calculates probabilities. It essentially predicts what the next pixel or the next word or the next waveform should be to satisfy your prompt.
It's world-class imitation.
It is unprecedented imitation, but it's still just imitation.
So it's basically reverse engineering the aesthetics of human emotion without actually having the emotion.
There you go.
If the machine is doing world-class imitation, what exactly is the human advantage? Like, according to the text, what do we still hold over a machine that has literally digested every painting ever made?
The source lists 4 massive human advantages. First is emotional depth.
Okay.
Humans create from a place of emotional depth, from pain, love, struggle, from deeply personal, messy stories.
Yeah, heartbreak, joy, all of it.
Right. AI feels none of this. It only replicates the shadow of those emotions. Secondly, we possess original perspective.
Because AI just looks backward.
Exactly. Because AI relies on predictive modeling based on its training data, it is fundamentally backward-looking. It just recombines what already exists. Humans, however, have the capacity to break the rules entirely.
To create entirely new artistic movements.
Right, things that defy the historical data. The third advantage is cultural and social context.
Like responding to the times we live in.
Yes. Our art is a reaction to politics, society, identity. The AI just reflects whatever was in its dataset. And finally, the fourth advantage, meaning and intent.
Meaning.
A human painting is never just a visual arrangement of colors. It has a purpose, a message. The human creates the meaning. The AI simply generates the output.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because if you think about it, AI is essentially the universe's greatest mathematically perfect cover band.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it can play all the hits flawlessly in any style you want because it has studied the sheet music of every hit ever recorded.
Yeah.
But the human artist. The human is the original songwriter who actually had to get their heart broken, sit alone in a room, and struggle to find the exact chord that captures that feeling.
Yes.
The cover band plays the notes, but the songwriter actually lived the song.
It's a great analogy. But there's a contradiction here we have to address.
What's that?
If humans hold the absolute monopoly on meaning and emotion, then why are freelance graphic designers, copywriters, and music producers losing sleep right now?
Yeah, that's the real question. Why the panic if our human advantage is so untouchable?
Because the immediate threat isn't the total replacement of high art. It's the absolute devaluation of commercial art.
Devaluation.
The crisis is that art is becoming incredibly cheap, blisteringly fast, and massively overproduced.
So the art itself, or at least the labor required to make it, becomes worth less because the market is just flooded.
Exactly. The text talks about this ripple effect. Think about the economics of attention. We all have a finite amount of time in a day, right?
Right, 24 hours.
When infinite polished content is suddenly everywhere, what happens? The perceived value of any individual piece of work plummets. The uniqueness fades.
Always tune it out.
Yes. We are entering a creativity crisis where the sheer quantity of content explodes exponentially, but the overall quality and meaning decline. It becomes a flood of aesthetically pleasing noise.
And when you're caught in a flood, it doesn't matter how pure the water is, you're still drowning.
That's a grim but accurate way to put it.
And we are seeing the real-world mechanics of this right now. It's not some theoretical future. The source highlights specific industries that are actively shifting today.
Which ones?
Graphic design, content writing, music production, video editing, animation.
Oh, yeah.
If you are a freelancer in these fields today, you are facing clients who know they can generate a decent base-level asset for practically nothing.
And that changes the whole negotiation.
Completely. The rates are plummeting, the competition is unimaginable, and the delivery expectations are getting to a point that is physically impossible for a human to meet.
Right. If a client expects 50 variations of a character design by tomorrow morning, the human designer is simply priced out of the market.
Because they need time to sketch and think.
Yes. Not because their final refined work isn't better or more soulful, but because the market has devalued the time it takes to arrive at that refinement.
And this directly impacts you, the listener.
It really does.
Whether you are a creator trying to make a living or just a consumer trying to find a genuinely insightful article to read or a meaningful piece of music, you are going to have to wade through an absolute ocean of cheap AI-generated content.
The signal-to-noise ratio is going completely off the charts.
It's daunting, but look, I don't want to leave this on such a bleak note.
Let's not.
If this massive flood of generative content is inevitable, and it clearly is, let's pivot to solutions. How do creators and the listeners who support them actually survive and thrive in this new environment?
Well, the source text introduces a completely new paradigm for this. The future is not a battle of AI versus humans.
Okay, what is it then?
If you try to compete on speed and volume, the machine will crush you every time. The future is AI plus humans.
AI plus humans.
Yes. The text outlines 4 new roles and skills that are going to define the future artist. First, artists need to become creative directors.
Meaning they aren't making every single piece themselves.
Exactly. Instead of painstakingly executing every brushstroke, you use AI as a high-powered generation engine. You produce the raw material instantly, but then you use your human taste to guide the output, to edit, and to add a personal touch.
I see. So it's like moving from playing the cello in the orchestra to standing on the podium and conducting the whole symphony.
That's a perfect way to look at it.
You aren't playing the individual notes anymore, but you are dictating the emotion, the vision. What's the second skill?
Prompt engineering. Creativity is shifting from the physical act of making to the highly intellectual act of directing.
Oh, like actually talking to the machine.
Yes. Writing the right prompt is becoming a complex art form in itself. The third is hybrid creativity. This is the active combination of the machine speed with human emotion.
How does that look in practice?
Think about a music producer. They might use an AI model to instantly generate the bass stems for a track. That's the heavy lifting. But then the human chops it up, distorts it, and introduces a subtle, offbeat human swing for refinement and meaning.
AI provides the clay, the human sculpts it.
Exactly. And the fourth skill, and this is arguably the most important for survival, is personal branding.
Personal branding. Why is that so critical now?
Because in a world completely flooded with aesthetically flawless AI art, audiences are going to desperately crave connection. They will increasingly follow the artist, not just the art.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense.
The story behind the creation becomes vastly more important than the physical output itself.
People want to know who made it.
Yes. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the source makes some massive predictions about where this is heading.
Let's hear them.
We are going to see a mass explosion of millions of AI artworks daily. But paradoxically, this will cause premium human art to rise in value.
Wait, really? It goes up?
Yes, because audiences will desperately seek authenticity. Real stories, real emotions, real humans. It's an economic principle. Scarcity drives value.
Oh, like the Baumol effect.
Exactly like that.
For those listening, that's an economic concept that explains why a live string quartet costs way more to hire today than it did in the 1800s, even though it takes the exact same amount of time to play Beethoven.
Right.
Because manufacturing productivity skyrocketed elsewhere, the inherently human, unautomatable task of playing the cello became a premium luxury.
It's the perfect parallel. When flawless generated art is ubiquitous and free, it loses its prestige.
Yeah.
The human touch becomes the ultimate luxury. And because of this, new careers are going to emerge.
Like what?
Things like AI art directors, prompt designers, and digital curators.
Yeah.
People whose job it is to sift through the noise and find the meaningful signals.
So what does this all mean? If we synthesize the actionable advice from the source, it boils down to a few things.
First, don't fight the AI.
Right. Embrace it as a tool. Focus on what makes you human, your emotion, your storytelling, your unique voice. Build a personal brand so people connect with you as a person, and just keep learning as creativity evolves.
That is the final verdict from the text.
Yeah.
Human artists are not becoming obsolete,
Right.
but the definition of artist is changing. AI generates. Humans interpret.
And the winners will be those who create with AI.
Absolutely.
I want to share the exact closing line from the source text because it leaves such a lasting impact. It says, AI may create faster than you, but it can never live your story. And that story is your greatest creative power.
That is powerful. And, this raises an important question.
Oh.
Yeah, a final thought to leave you with. As human-made art becomes this premium, highly valued luxury in a sea of AI content, will we start demanding proof of humanity in everyday things? Will the typos in an email, the slight imperfections in a drawing, or the hesitation and breath in a human voice become the new gold standard for authenticity?
Oh.
Will we actually start valuing mistakes simply because a machine is too perfect to make them? Something for you to think about as you navigate this new creative frontier.